All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you can hear me good. All right. Now I want to talk about the new reports that are out. Okay. Now I was watching YouTube the other day, and somebody in the video said that there's people coming forward now. Now that Richard's been looked at behind bars and stuff. That said, certain stuff, which was it kind of makes sense. And the reason I say that is because we heard Richard in his interrogation talk about going out to the bridge before. Okay. Now, what one of his friends said, supposedly, I don't know if it's true or not, that he liked to go fishing out there. And there was a certain spot that he went when he went to go fishing, and a certain spot where he parked when he went fishing out there or mushroom hunting. He said it was the best place to park because there was hardly anybody ever there, right? And it was tucked away. And I'm not talking about the building, the old CPS building or whatever it was. Now let's pull up Google Earth, which I've done that. Hold on a minute. Let's do Google Earth. Uh, Excuse me. Now, hopefully, you folks can see this. Now, this is the road and the place where Richard was seen. His vehicle was seen at this building. Okay. Now, his vehicle was seen leaving. That's what some people said, that he was coming to the crime scene and he was leaving. Now, this is why I'm pointing this out, because Richard's good friend, supposedly in this video that I watched yesterday, came out and said Richard loved to go fishing. He loved to go there and go fishing. And when he did, he had a special spot where he parked that was easy access to the river, in a place that he always went. Always his favorite place. Now, if anybody is out there watching, can anyone point to where that favorite place was where he would go? And what side of the river he always fished on? Well, let me explain. His friend says Richard had a place where he would go fishing that was his secret spot, right? Where he would go when he went out there fishing on the river. And that place was the cemetery. That's where Richard loved to go and park. And his favorite spot to go fishing was on this side of the river. And it was right off the river down here. It was right on this bend here, this whole bend here. This was Richard's. Now, I don't know if this is true. This is what I heard in a video, that someone said Richard's friend came forward, and a lot of other people now are coming forward. Now, wouldn't it make sense that if, and the guy, I would imagine Richard parked there. Why? Because nobody is ever there. It's a cemetery. And nobody, and people have parked there before, but that was the spot where supposedly This guy says Richard would park all the time, get out of his car, walk down to the river there on that trail, and fish. So, and is it a coincidence that they only have Richard's car one time on camera leaving that place? What way did he leave? He left this way. He pulled out of the cemetery, pulled out, drove down this way. He did pass that camera, and they got it right. He was leaving. Why? Because he jumped right across over here, drove past that, drove right up here, crossed over, and what did he do? He came right back down, jumped on the highway probably, or he might have went through town the long way home. He might have took the long way home, or he would have jumped right back on the highway, right down to his house. That was right out here, somewhere out here. But anyways, let's get back to the cemetery. And now it makes sense because why? Because this is a place where Richard went all the time. He was comfortable there. He knew that that's a cemetery. There's not many people there. There's not many people there. And I seen another video that I was watching today of a lady, and I think I seen one of her people in my chat the other day. Streets of Bakerfield, and she showed a photo today of a gentleman, right? And I'll be god dang if it didn't look like Bridge Guy. And it even did look like Richard Allen. But that photo was taken where? Well, it was taken downstream, way downstream. Let's go to Google Earth here. And that little lady, whoever that lady is, I forget her name, I subbed today. But that's good investigation because that looks like someone sitting on the bank, but not at Dare Creek, right down the road at Riley Park, which ain't far away. And this was the next day. And there was a guy sitting on the rocks off of the bank out here, Riley Park, somewhere up in here, on the 14th, as they were looking for the girls over here. Now, could that have been Richard Allen? It could have been. It sure did look like Richard Allen, but it also looked like maybe Sullivan, the one guy. It also looked like 4 other guys around there. Yeah. Richard Allen wasn't the only one. That looked like Richard Allen that was around that area. From a distance, there was many people that looked like Richard Allen. Maybe it was his car that they did get. That's your car. What were you doing there? Then, all that might have played a part. They might have. These investigators are pretty good, and they're allowed to lie. So people are saying, "Oh, I can't believe that they lied about this." Well, when there's an investigation going on, it's perfectly okay to lie. And we're seeing a lot of that, even in police that are not doing investigations, which they caught a couple police down there that were corrupt. And there's corrupt police everywhere, even in this little town. Right? Yeah, it happens everywhere, folks. Hello, Miss Debbie Fox. So after hearing this video, and that Riley Park is even closer to Richard Allen. So Richard Allen might have, the next day on the 14th, after all the hoo-ha and everything, it was all over the news and everything. I don't know. If it was Richard Allen, do you think he went to Riley Park and sat on the side of the rocks there? Here's Riley Park. Hold on. Ain't it like right by his house? Yeah, his house is right here. Here's Richard's house. Right in this triangle. This is where Richard lived. It's very possible. Richard had a house right off of the creek here that actually ran all the way to, you go underneath the viaduct, the creek here. This is all covered area that he could have traveled unseen. Unseen. It took him right to. And that's what I always thought because, and real quick, so I don't change anything, let's go to Riley. I showed you where his house is. His house is right here in this triangle thing. And here's Riley Park, right here. Let me zoom in. And this is all rocks and everything and fast moving water. Oh, wait, that's, yeah, Riley Park. There it is right there. So, do you think maybe he went there to think about things or to relive it? He can't be at the, I don't know. And literally, folks, he could have walked out his back door, jumped on a dirt bike or a four wheeler, or even hiked it. If he was used to walking, hiking in the military, he could have walked that. And it was all covered. And there's the scene of the crime. And it made me think because the one lady said, well, we seen someone walking on the outskirts out here. They were walking in this field on the outline of the trees, muddy and bloody, right? I don't know. Did he pop up out over here? I don't know. Do I think he parked at the cemetery and he's lying about the whole thing? They did catch his car, but they caught his car leaving. Why would he drive all the way over to here, park here, and walk all the way back, knowing he's going to do something bad, taking a chance, people seeing him? It don't make sense. And let me tell you another thing. If you look here, if you look here, he parks at the cemetery, gets out, he goes down. He's watching, right? He sees people walking past and forth, back and forth on the bridge. He sees the three girls. They might have seen him, but he wasn't where they didn't see him where they thought they seen him. They seen him somewhere else on the trail. And a lot of people don't realize there's a trail that runs from the back of the cemetery here. If you can see my mouse. And I do believe it comes down here and then it hooks back around. And where does it come out? Right by the bridge. Right before you get on the bridge. That used to be a trail that ran all the way back around. It ran all the way back here, trails. So what do I think? I don't know. If Richard fished there all the time, unbothered, no one ever bothered him. There was no cars ever there, except for people that might have came to visit the dead, right? But they're never there that long. And if they see a car there, what are they going to think? Probably someone walking around seeing their family or whatever. So if he felt comfortable, if it's true what his friend said, and that was his favorite spot to go fishing, and every time he was out there, he'd park at the cemetery. And that very well might be true, and that would make sense that they caught him his vehicle, which they thought is he parked here by the building. I don't know if he knew that place at the cemetery was so comfortable that that's where he parked every time he went out there fishing. And in his interrogation, he did say he went out there numerous times to go fishing and mushroom hunting and to shoot his gun or whatever, or to hunt or whatever. And supposedly, uh, that's where he would park. And it makes sense to me. Yeah, I mean, it's a cemetery. There ain't going to be that many people there, you know. And if you can pull all the way up to the back, which you can, to the tree line and park off of the road, no one's really going to see you. And they're just going to think you're walking around either visiting family or out there walking around, walking your dog or whatever. And that would make sense too. I mean, either way, he could have did it, but I do believe maybe one of his friends was right, and that's he would go somewhere where he felt comfortable. And if that's where he parked when he went fishing all the time and he fished on that side of the river where the girls were found, then it makes sense. And you still have to go down a muddy ravine because that was a gravel pit behind there. So it's all dug out. So he would have been muddy, no doubt. Maybe she didn't see him all the way down here in the tree line. Maybe she seen him because she was coming this way or coming this way. Maybe she did see him coming out somewhere over here and walk into his car or whatever. That's very possible too. But you know what? They said he confessed that's where he parked. I mean, if he lied about one thing, is he going to lie about everything else? I don't know. I could have swore he said he didn't park there. He parked somewhere else, but then he changed. Oh, I parked over here. And they said where the old CBS building was. Oh, no, I didn't park there. I parked over here. Right? He was playing a whole game, a whole circus. So if someone came out, someone that knew him and was a close friend of him or a friend, and said he used to go fishing there all the time and he knew that place like the back of his hand, and his favorite place to park and go was at the cemetery, then I imagine there's a good chance that's where he parked, and he felt comfortable there, that nobody would see him. No one ever bothers him anyways. They think maybe he's fishing or whatever. But my question is that little lady that I seen today on YouTube posted that a photo of someone sitting at Riley Park on the 14th, sitting on the rocks. It sure does look like Richard Allen with a little bit of gray hair in the beard or whatever, but or someone that looks similar to Richard Allen, or yeah, very. But you know what? At this time, or at that time, everybody was bridge. We have bridge guy paradormia. Anybody that we seen that was anywhere between 5'6" and 5'11" was bridge guy. I'm not joking. I had 7 bridge guys myself and voice guys on this channel that were suspects. And I imagine there was a lot more suspects. Well, I don't know. Yeah, the guy could be lying. It could be nothing. But if this guy did know Richard Allen, and that was his favorite spot to go, and he did fish that side of the river, the guy said, where the girls were found, then yeah, there's a good possibility they caught him leaving. The job was done already, and he was on his way home. And could he get to home from that going that way? Yes, I just showed you the route. He just circled right back around, right? He came in from over on this end, right? Because you can get right to his house from either side. Either side he could have came from, but I think he came from this way, and he parked at the cemetery. Job was done. He got in his car, and they caught him leaving. He jumped over right here, and boom, he's on his way back home down. Yeah, very possible. Now, if there was more than one, and there was many there, well, then yes, the lady that said she seen a muddy, bloody guy walking down the road or coming out of the tree lines. Yep. What about the lady that said she seen somebody that was hitchhiking on the road with a backpack down the highway? Yep. Yep, that could have been also somebody. What about the reports of the one guy that they said that was all dressed in black? Yeah, that could have been another guy. If there was many there, yes, that would explain the other sightings, right? That we heard about in the beginning of this case. Right? I'm talking a year and a half, 2 years into the case, like somewhere around there, 2.5, 3 years, when all this came out. There's witnesses and so if this guy's telling the truth, then yeah, it's very well possible they caught him getting out of there. He came from the other side, parked there, did the job, jumped in his car, and he was gone. Right? And there's Weber's property right there. And I wouldn't doubt if he's telling the truth. He probably got spooked, possibly. Do I think it spooked him? Probably not. He did get spooked, but I think he stuck it out. And the white van passed by. Right? Not unless the rumors were true in the beginning that there was a white. Well, we know there was a white van. We know there was a black truck. We know that there was many cars seen there, right? The pickup truck with a cab on the back of it, or like a Tahoe or something. With it was all black with stickers on the back of the window, covered the whole window, stickers. Right? You remember that? I mean, there was numerous things. The PT Cruiser, but we don't know if them were all rumors, which we're starting to find out the rumors are coming around 360. Hello, Miss Heather Brown. Either way, if he's telling the truth, he parked at the CBS building and walked in. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it could be longer distance to walk. Don't make sense. More options to be seen because you got to walk on the trail longer distance. It don't make sense. What do I think? I think girls seen him, but it wasn't way up here by the bridge. I think it was back here on the trail where he might have been sitting here. He came in through the cemetery. He came down through the gravel pit. He hit one of these trails. He walked all the way around, and he probably sat on the bench that was right here out that trail. And he did see three girls, and they probably saw him. And they walked past him, and then he disappeared. Why? Because he might have jumped back on the trail here. He might have ran back around. For all we know, he himself might have crossed the river. And then he seen somebody come up on the trail or the tracks and was coming across the tracks. And he came up the hill, side of the hill, out of nowhere, and started walking past the girl. And then stopped and turned around when he noticed there ain't nobody behind him. There's nobody around. Here's his opportunity. He turns back around and starts heading back towards the girls. He takes the girls under own free will because it's too risky to kill here, because now you got to dispense of the bodies fast because you know there's people coming. It's a beautiful day. So he brings the girls down here to where he feels comfortable, where he's been fishing for many, many years. No one bothers him. Does his sick, disgusting crap or whoever he's with or whatever. And then boom, he comes back up here into his car and boom, they catch him leaving. He's out of there. And if there was more than one, then that might explain why they dispersed and were seen all over, maybe. That would explain the different sketches that were all over. I don't know who was that guy on the 14th sitting in the, they're saying supposedly at Riley Park, not at Dare Creek over where the girls were murdered. But I don't know. It looks like Richard. But that place is even right down the street from Richard's house. Could be. He couldn't go to the kill site. He couldn't go there because it was being swamped with police, people looking. But he had to get close, something to remind him, so he went sat at Riley Park off the river. That connects right to Deer Creek. For all we know, he could have been sitting out there seeing if any clothes washed up or anything from the. Who knows? It's sick. That whole area's got problems. They don't want to come out and say it. It's a beautiful town. It is. Most of the people there are good people, but it's hiding a deep secret, just like every little town probably is. Right? Shh! Don't talk about our dirt. Yeah. So that's and if anyone says he didn't even drive, it's impossible. That wasn't his car. Maybe it wasn't. I mean, heck, from where he lived, he literally could have walked out his back door and walked all the way unseen in the woods right to the kill spot and walked all the way home and never been seen. Debbie, if you're still here, what do you think? Does that make any sense to you? I mean, it does to me. I mean, if he was going to do this, you'd think he would do it where he felt comfortable. Where he felt comfortable. If it's true what Richard Allen said, that he used to go there fishing and hunting for mushrooms, and he went to a certain spot, and that's where he used to park, and that's where he used to fish off of this bank, off of this bend that comes around here, then I would imagine that's where he probably felt the most comfortable. That's why the girls were killed there, and that's probably why he parked there. Right at that time of day, everyone was at work. He knew it was a school off day. I think the police are telling the truth. I think Richard Allen was also talking to the girls that day. And Jerry Holman even said that. We know you were talking to the girls that day. And they knew Keegan Klein was. I'm just off the top of my head. I think Klein probably was selling accounts. Right? Selling fake accounts so people could use them. And I think that's why his phone came up missing. The one that he had that year. Yeah, there's a lot of ways. Excuse me. But to me, if he felt comfortable somewhere where he knew there was no one going to bother him, uh, it was a day. He knew there was no school, probably. Why? Because his daughter was in school. So he probably knew there was no school or something. He came home, hit out there. Maybe he was the one talking. I don't know. They might be right about that. We don't have the data because they can't find his phone. So now, whether that guy's telling the truth in that video, that one of his friends, close friends, have come forward now and said Richard did used to go out there fishing all the time. And he had a favorite spot, which was on that side of the creek or river where the girls were found. And it makes sense to me that he probably felt the most comfortable there. And it was an easy access out of there. A lot better than after you do a murder like this and you're bloody and muddy to walk all the way back around, risking to be seen. He had to walk all the way back up here, from all the way down here, all the way back there. I don't see it happening. He knew this is where he always parks. It's easy access. He could get to the bridge by not even having to cross the bridge. He could get access to this area without crossing the bridge or the creek. And that's what he might have done. He might have came up this way, parks here, he gets out of his car. He's watching. He comes up this way. He sits. The girls see him. Yeah, we've seen a guy sitting on the bench. He goes ahead and disappears. The girls come walking down. He sees they go on the bridge, and then that's his opportunity. He knows nobody's down here. So he walks, gets back on the bridge, and heads down this way, pushing them back this way, and then gets them to the kill spot. After he's done doing what he's doing, the white van's involved here. There's other vehicles about. People are saying they seen. He's done with the job. He gets right back up here on the trail and comes right out by the cemetery, and then he pulls out, and then boom, he's coming back this way. He's seen leaving. Boom, he cuts across the highway on this road right up here. Comes across. Boom, he's back on the highway heading right back home. Yeah. Yeah. I don't see why he took a risk of walking that far. Right? They're trying to say, oh, we caught him coming in. Right? He was coming from this way and he parked here. I don't think so. That's just too risky to walk that far, especially after you're doing something like this and you're covered in blood or mud. And being that he had 2 hours, 3 hours, was it enough time to do the job? Oh, yeah. He accomplished what he wanted to do. Whoever did this, the sick pricks. Yeah, enough time. Because if he didn't have to carry the girls anywhere. And I mean, for all we know, what we heard in the beginning is true. They kidnapped the girls. Okay. All right. It explains why they weren't there. Okay. I believe you. Right? They shut down the thing. They shut down it. They come back. They dump the bodies right off of the cemetery. It's easy access compared to drive. That's why I don't believe I parked all the way down here and walked in all the way, did this horrific thing, and then walked all the way out, risking to be seen by it. Too risky. I think he parked right here. Easy access in to the bridge and easy access out after he did the killing. And boom, they caught him coming out. Very possible. My scenario, my thoughts, which don't mean a thing. It don't mean a thing. And you have to take in consideration if his friend's telling the truth, and that was his favorite spot, and he parked in the cemetery. Then I imagine he won't. If he's been going there for years and acting like an idiot, and no one's ever bothered him or seen him or heard from him going out there fishing, then I imagine that's where he parked to do this, to feel the most comfortable. And it makes sense because you can't even see all the way in the back of that. I do believe it's like a slight angle. And once you get so far back from the street, you really can't see a car back there if you pulled up into the brush. It makes sense. And you can hear vehicles because it's a valley, right? You can hear vehicles coming down the gravel. Maybe there was someone coming, but not down the driveway. Maybe they were coming into this because you hear vehicles in the background. You hear what sounds like a vehicle on gravel. They might be coming into the cemetery. That's possible. Maybe more people will come do something sick, and he just rounded them back to that area. We know this. Anything's possible. We know this. There's 6 sketches. None of them look alike. We know this. There's witnesses that place people in different places, dressed differently, right? They might have seen the same dude. Is it possible he stripped down as he walked back, ripping layers of clothes? He was pretty puffy. He might have had 2 sets of jeans on. He might have had sweatpants under his jeans. And he was stripping down as he was walking back to the vehicle or getting out of there. That's possible. Different layer of clothes. I seen someone with a blue, black, brown, bloody. Then he wasn't bloody. I seen a guy, yeah, explain. That's possible too. If he's this so-called military guy, so smart, intelligent, then yeah, it's possible. As he walked out there, he was stripping layers of clothes off. No, what do you want? I mean, what else is there? The most easiest way, the cemetery. Pulls in, easy access. He's already in cover with all the woods, all the trees, the valley. He can get to the bridge. They come across the bridge, and he makes his move. They do cross the river to get back to where he feels comfortable, where he's fished for many, many years, hunted. Yeah, I'd go with it. I'd believe it if that's what they. Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. This walking all the way up past there, all the way through there, all these people seen him, right? I don't know. I don't know what kind of a military man he is, but doing something like this, you don't want to be walking miles and people seeing you. Excuse me. What do you think, Debbie? There's a lot, or she said, there is a lot of ways this could have went down. Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was the perfect storm. And then you enter in more than one people, and then you enter in more than one people phones that were pinging around there, and then you add in people that were actually there. And then you throw in the witches and the warlocks and the Odins and the Lukey Lukes, and you got yourself a perfect storm. It's almost like they were pushing to make a movie after the murders. I mean, the scenario, the whole thing twisted into this big thing. This, now it was the Harry Potter and the Seven Dwarfs. And it was just blood, gore, and everything. I was like, what are they doing? Are we pushing for a movie here or TV segment or something? And it does have quality or whatever, or mystery or whatever. But why did they create this mystery? You have to ask. What was the devious side of this? Was there money involved? movie deal, whatever. Or were they, just sickos doing pedo stuff or whatever? And they made movies or whatever with kids or whatever, and photos, made money that way. That's very well possible. I probably would say, yeah, when you caught half of these dudes and they were all involved in some kind of sick murders with young people or photos and stuff like that, and drugs and all that, I would say, yeah, matches pretty good to being a ring, a club, a gang, however they want to call it. I don't know. They're the profession. I'm just a YouTube creator, reporter, whatever. I don't hunt down people. I'm just an actor. It ain't my job. They don't pay me enough money to go and hunt down these animals. These guys are killing little kids and everybody that finds out or whatever, Dealing with thousands of nut jobs, probably. Hell, I'll need a couple C Rams up here in my apartment just to protect myself. I'd like to know. I'd like to find out who that little. I forget the name of her channel. I'm gonna look and see. I sub to her. And that little lady that comes into my channel once in a while, Streets of Bakerfield. I've seen her over there. But I'd like to find out who that guy is. It does look like Richard. He does have a little bit of a goatee, and it does look gray. And I imagine it is gray if it's true what he did. Yeah, I imagine it turned him. Did you see his wife coming into police? The day before that, she was perfectly black hair. Right? All this shit went down. She turned gray. I can see getting gray over time, but one day they look fine, and the next day they're gray. That's a lot of. And I'm not talking about gay hairs. They're really busting grays. I feel sorry for good gray. Why you gotta be so mean? Why you gotta call your idiot followers idiots? I mean, it could go either way. When they say, could one guy do this? Yes, one guy could do this on his own. Easily. With 2, 3 hours, maybe longer. I think they got the time mixed up, if you ask me, from the shadows. I think it was earlier than that. He said he got home at 11 o'clock, went inside, grabbed his jacket, and took off to the bridge. He only lives 5 minutes away. That was at 11, right? He's 5, 10 minutes away, not even, from the bridge, right? So yeah, I think maybe they got the times wrong, or he's lying. Because he said he got home at 11. He went to his parents, came home. It was 11 o'clock. He got his jacket and ran out to the bridge. 1:30. I don't think so. And the shadows on the bridge ain't showing 1:30. It's showing before that. My opinion. I could be wrong, but the sun's hitting them in the face. So that means it was before noon. So yeah, they might have the time wrong. And if you want any questions on that, you're going to have to ask our Native American brothers, because they're real good at reading the sun and shadows and everything, and tell you what time it is. Ask them, show them a photo of Bridge Guy in the shadows. Right? It's bouncing off his face. It's got to be before noon or at noon, high noon or a little after 12:30. 1 o'clock, yeah, maybe. And then don't forget you got a time change. That's different down there. So if it's 12 o'clock there, it's 11 o'clock here, or 1 o'clock here, or whatever it is. Well, we'll have to see if this story checks out about his best friend or one of his close friends or whoever it was that came out and said he fished on that side of the river and that was where he would park the cemetery. And he went out there all the time. We'll have to see if that pans out. If it does, then there's a good chance that he felt comfortable there. And that's where he parked to do something so crazy. What he was planning to do. He had to be somewhere where he felt comfortable. He must have known there was going to be somebody out there. It was a warm day. He had to have known that school was called. Right? There was no school that day. He might have been talking to the guy. The police might be right, man. The police might be right. They might have information saying we know. They might not have his phone, but they might have it. They might have data that they got from his provider that shows he was talking. Maybe they were already chatting. I wouldn't doubt it, man. So much time went by since they picked up Keegan Klein. Right? They might have picked up Klein. And Klein admitted, yeah, I have one of them accounts, but I sold. I also these people have accounts. Maybe, maybe, right? They might have already had people watching the Anthony Shots account after they caught Keegan Klein, right? Maybe before that, maybe they were on to this Anthony Shots guy from other stuff, and the FBI was already watching them accounts. So when Keegan Klein and them were talking to him, the FBI and the government already was watching them accounts. That's very possible. If it was what the government was saying, and they created this giant task force a year before Abby and Libby were murdered, or 2 years before, it's very well possible they knew them boys were talking to them girls. That might be why Holman told Richard Allen in the interrogation, "We know you were talking to him that day." They said the same. They said the same thing to Keegan Klein and one other person, I think. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section. And Debbie, voice your opinion, whatever you feel. I'm just running with it, man. I'm just putting dots together. I mean, it kind of makes sense that it was a ring because there was others that were all connected in that area, knew the bridge, knew that area, knew everyone that went out to the bridge, knew there was only one bar and one strip bar in town or whatever it was, and that's where everyone went. So I imagine they all knew each other. And when stuff like that goes bad, you're not going to, especially in a double murder and possibly more, right? Delphi might be connected to many murders, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying. I would be looking into before Delphi with Richard Allen. And we already know that other investigators have come from other states, and their investigation led them back to Delphi, the crew in Delphi, they said, or this area. So it makes sense to me. But I'm no idiot. I'm no genius. I'm an idiot. If I die, I want you folks to make sure you check this apartment complex area in all of Indiana, having to do with anything around here or anything, because as a reporter, I must have got too close. I wouldn't doubt if they wanted me to. I need some protection. I ain't lying, man. I think all of us do. We've been attacked numerous times in our chats, our phones ringing, people telling us to shut up, people doing all kinds of stuff. Police not even, you call it. If someone's getting beat out there, you call the police. They're just like, if you call us again, we're going to have to come. You might want to go break that fight up or go find out who them crazy people are that were lighting stuff on fire. You, you know, now if you call us again, we'll have to take you down to the nut. It's no wonder these people are running free. It might be everything they're saying, even Trump. They're corrupted, Johnny. They're corrupted. Well, maybe. That still don't deny that I need C-Rams up here. Maybe 2 or 3 platoons. Right? They are corrupt. I'm not gonna lie. What do you want me to do? Nobody. I'm not calling no more. Every time I call, I get in trouble. You guys are yelling and screaming out there, rolling around in the ground or whatever. I guess someone in the house. You'll have to fight it out because I'm not calling nobody anymore. I don't care. I know they're 80 years old out there running around, but I'm not getting involved in it no more. None. No more. That's it. Zero zip. Them old ladies out there can beat each other with the canes. I don't care. The old men can roll around beating each other with their wheelchairs. I'm not getting involved. It don't pay. It get you killed, but it definitely don't pay. Well, we'll just have to see. I imagine there'll be plenty more stuff coming out. It's obvious these people don't know how to handle prisoners. I would give Richard some time, and then I would go in and start talking to him. Right? Give him some time, let him think about it, and then send some people in and see if he wants to tell us his story. You found God, Richard. Amen to that. They're not going to fry you. You're not going to get the electric chair. You'll spend the rest of your life in prison. We will protect you, but tell us what happened. And tell us if there was other involved. We will protect you from them. Right? If we have to, we could move them to a different state that has nothing to do with these Odins. If everyone is worried about Odins, I've never met an Odin in my life. I don't know about you folks, but I've never seen or heard of Odin police. I've heard of the Odin biker gang, but they ain't even that stupid to do something like this. So whoever these other Odins are, them Odins are on their own because not even the biker club Odins would do that. No, I don't know. Maybe he just seen his opportunity. He's a sick man. He's telling his wife he can't stop. He's telling her behind the bar he can't stop. The thoughts can't stop. He was a very sick man. In some of his statements, he's sitting there saying he was just going to rape the girls and do whatever, and he got spooked. No, he did what he said he was did, and the proof is there. The semen, it ain't semen. It's pre-ejaculation So he accomplished what he wanted to, right? And would he have gone further? I wouldn't doubt it. And he might have. He might have. He might have had his way. If it's true the girls weren't there, then someone had the girls and they did whatever. And the bullet was lost as they planted the bodies that night. Why? Because it was dark. And it was dark, and he didn't want to take the chance there might be people out there. So he brought his weapon. And accidentally dropped a bullet or racked it. I don't know. Maybe it's his calling card. Maybe he had other weapons. It is possible to shoot 40 caliber through other size weapons. I don't know if you folks know that. You can take a 38 and shoot 40 cal through it. I don't know. I'm done with this. I know too. I don't want this knowledge, Lord. These people really did a number on me. This case really did a number on hundreds of us. Mentally disturbing. Well, like I said, I remember it being on the news that night it happened. I was sitting here watching the 11 o'clock news because I was watching the weather. Because Richard Allen's right. It was an unseasonable day of warmth. And like I said, behind that warmth, we had another storm. I think I was filming on Facebook the storm that happened that you guys are seeing on the 9th and 10th and the 11th and down there in Delphi, all that snow. We got hit worse up here. But Richard's also right about it was unseasonable warm. And within like 2 days, the snow was gone. And it was muddy. And the leaves were dry. Top layers of leaves and everything were dry because there was a wind. Southern wind. And I think I did my experiment on Facebook. What was it? 2 years later, we had the same conditions as February 17th, 2017. We had a storm come in, dump massive amounts of snow, and then within a couple days, it was back into the 50s. But the nights were in the 20s, low 20s. So I got a pair of my jeans, soaked them, some socks, and a pair of old gym shoes, and got them wet and stuck them outside to see if they would be frozen the next morning. And they were still a little bit frozen. So that's when I did my video on YouTube saying, well, if the girls crossed the river, then their clothes would have definitely been wet if they were found the next day and possibly frozen because it was only warm for so long and then the sun started going down and the temperatures dropped. It got cold. And it got cold fast. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to end this video. We are at 1 hour. I might be back later tonight with a fire video, something peaceful. Unless there's some new information out there, then we'll go over it in the Delphi case. Now, like I said, I don't know if this is true, what I heard on a YouTube video that one of his friends came forward saying that he did go out there and that was his favorite place to fish, behind the cemetery off of the bank here. And if so, then that might be where he came in, parked, and then left the other way, and they caught him on camera. I don't know. But if he's on his medication and he's perfectly fine, and he's still saying that he did this, and now all the evidence is there, give him a little time, and maybe he'll talk and let us know exactly what happened, if we can believe him. If we can believe him. You folks have a good night. God bless. Talk to you later.